That would probably make sense if I use my microphone to talk. So, hey guys, Larman's here again. Kind of doing the hey guys, preparing here thing. This is basically my first video. Just kind of giving it a try. Kind of, Here's a summary. So, I basically quit my job in March, and since then I've been lazying it up. I got enough savings and enough money to last me to basically live a year or maybe a little bit more without having to work. But it's been about 6 months now, and it's kind of getting to the point where I am in the process of getting another job. I kind of have to have a master's degree in information systems for very reputable schools in the Bay Area. So it'd be kind of going to waste. And to be honest, I like making six figures. The problem is when you make six figures is you work 12-hour days, so that's not too fun, unfortunately. But I think that's pretty much what I have to deal with. But for now, I am making this video in relation to the release of World of Warcraft, Legion. So I promised myself that I wouldn't buy the game because WoD was just a disaster, just an absolute disaster. And to give you a sense of my experience, I got the chance to play with Mez, who's probably one of the best Death Knights in the world. You can find, his Twitch channel is twitch.tv/Mez, MES. And I got to play, arenas 3s with him, got 2200, and the last time I played World of Warcraft was Cataclysm expansion, and that was maybe for a month. So that was almost a 4 or 5 year break, and I got to 2200 MMR, 2300. Pretty much, I got carried quite a bit. I would say that's excellent, but that's not the point of me bragging about my MMR. The feeling that I got, at least I haven't played the beta, but the feeling that I'm getting right now from live is Demon Hunter kind of is fun. It feels very much so like a class from the game Wildstar, which is actually not good, but the classes are fast, quick, they have double jump, blah blah blah. So those mechanics were very welcome in a game that is very dated. One of the very first thing I hadn't played World of Warcraft in probably half a year, 6 months now, half a year. When I came back I was like, wow, no matter what they do to the textures, the graphics are very, 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 very dated. So that's something that kind of bothered me because it's kind of coming to the point where, yeah, sure, I'm not one of those guys that only play games um, for the graphics, but at the same time, I think it was 14 years old. 14 years old. In 2003, when it was in beta, now there are some kids who are 13, who were born that year, who are 13 years old, and the game is basically the engine is basically as old as they are. So there's that. My main concern is what I got from Legion, from at least from experiencing this couple hours of the Demon Hunter Zone, was the exact same feeling that I got from Mortals of Draenor. Cinematics were great. The introductory zone was great. Actually, reading the quest text to figure out kind of what's going on for once was great. The issue is once you get out of that zone, and to be honest, the zone was okay. Nothing too mind exploding. Typical, bad guy fells. You know, the Legion. The green guys are coming back. I guess for Blizzard, green represents the monsters, orcs are green, and the Fel River people are bright green. Um, so I had the exact same feeling. The honeymoon of it was a 2 hour honeymoon where I was like, wow, the game is great. Seems that it's gonna be kind of alive. But then reality kind of kicks in. You get at the what is it called? The starting zone, and you go back into currently what is what. And to be completely honest, it's the invasions are a complete mess. If you're middle class, it's basically I basically it sucked because I was horde since I was always horde for the last 12 years. I started playing World of Warcraft in 2004, and I switched to Alliance last year because that's when they had really overpowered ratios. And now everybody's done a switch back to Horde. So on my server that I transferred to Karguf at the time was the most populated, and now it's one of the least populated. So we got the server. I think it's called CRZ. I'm not sure what the acronym stands for, but basically you go and there's an invasion in Terran Mill, and at least on my server, it's usually a ratio, and I am not exaggerating, for one horde player, you have about 15 to 20 alliance players. So you may have 10 horde players, but you have at the same time about 150 to 100 alliance players running around, which means invasions are if you're playing the DPS aspect of the Demon Hunter class, you got this glaive throw, which is kind of like a boomerang throw to DPS. You hit the monster and just get out of the AoE, get on your mount, stay in the air, wait for that phase of the invasion to end, and rinse repeat. And then you get those points, and people are like farming that for the pets, for for the pets. There's, I guess, there's a set of Fel River armor. There's some I-700 gear that's has good stat and pretty easy to get. But all that shit is gonna become obsolete. Once in less than 3 weeks now. Yeah, because it came out on Tuesday, and so that was 3 weeks, 20, 21. So 19 days. 19 days we're getting the real deal. But at the same time, people were telling me Legion is awesome. People have been in the beta. The artifact weapons are great. They give longevity to the game. But that was the exact same stuff that was being said about Worlds of Draenor. Garrison are fresh. Oh, I got my own housing. There were some complaints that, oh, I thought it was gonna be shared housing. I could have my friends, like all have a hub together, or we can hang out in our house. But it didn't happen. It ended up being a Facebook game, and they added the Twitter integration, mechanic, which was very insulting in my opinion to the player base because not especially to people who take the game seriously, but that was totally geared to people who I think their uh main passion in the game, passion is probably not, but their main the time that they spend the most in the games for transmogs and mounts and playing old company right now. That's the remaining players what they're doing, and unfortunately, um, Legion is not fixing any of that. Will not fix any of that. They added a layer of grind that once you're done with your dungeons, right? You do the 100 to 110 story, which again, great 1 week honeymoon period. For some people 3 days because they rush through the content. For me, I'll take it slow. It might take me a week to get to level 110, and then after that you do your dungeons, you get your gear, and there we go. We go back to the old system. LFR, Group Finder. The PvP has been revamped, and to be honest, I've always been a kind of a fan of World of Warcraft PvP, but it just still looks like an unbalanced fucking mess from the streams that I've been watching. And it's a mess. It's just classes doing ridiculous amount of burst damage, and it's the same old tower mechanics. It's whoever uses their cooldown first, and whoever coordinates their CC is the best to be able to burst down a healer or a DPS class, and still the same thing. You're hugging the pillar if you're the healer, and all that. None of that has changed. None of that has changed. Dungeons, probably, I assume there will be good amount of trash, kind of like uh, similar to WoD level, maybe less, and bosses that you will just maul down. So really, the crux of this expansion is your artifact weapon, which is from what I've heard, is an i7 750 item that you get 30 minutes into the introduction of your class, and I'm sure it's gonna be tied to dailies. And if that is their plan for the longevity of the casual gamer, we're falling back, in my opinion, into garrison territory, where building a garrison was fun for maybe the first 2 months. Then the first raid is released, people clear that raid, and then people are gonna grind their artifacts a lot faster than I expect. You know, people think it's gonna take, and they're gonna get back in a situation there's nothing to do. And the phrase "there's nothing to do" is very relevant in the context of MMOs. Why is there nothing to do? Well, if we really want to be elitist, we have to go back to Ultima Online, which is a 1991 game, where pretty much the first MMO, to actually come out. I might be wrong. I think it might be 1996 or 1995, between 1991 and 1995, because EverQuest came out in 1998. So 2, 16, 18. So that's 24 years. 24 years of the same old goddamn tired formula. I grew up on those games. I grew up on World of Warcraft. If I type played on my mage, I have something like 150 days over the course of the years. That I type played on my Dark Knight, which is my second most played character, I have something like 64 days. So it's very much, the last 12 years, the whole year of my life has been spent, imagine, 24/7 without pissing, shitting, breathing, in front of my computer playing this game. It speaks volume to Blizzard for creating something like that. But at the same time, I think it speaks volume that the game is in a situation where, and I don't want to crap on it. I really hope this is the expansion that put the nail in the coffin. Blizzard needs to move on. Overwatch, to me, since I never really liked Team Fortress 2, is not a game that I enjoy. I bought it, put a couple hours into it, did the competitive thing. I thought, and personally, competitive placement was an absolute joke because, unfortunately, in 3 of my games, people left, so that was 3 losses. I ranked into the lower elo ranks of 40s, and that is called the 40/50s elo hell because it's people who don't care, and most of the other matches for my placement were Smurf accounts, people who were level 14, but definitely, who had skins that cost 1,000 gold, so they spent money to get it, and they were playing like they knew the map, the, the the map checkpoints, the map, choke points, the map, the corners where to shoot from. So that's basically the state of Overwatch right now. They probably badly ranked at the beginning like I did, and they basically bought the game for $40 and are re-ranking to get into better rank instead of grinding from like 41 to like 55, which would take a long time. Um, I think that's pretty much what is going on Overwatch. Sorry, I deviated a little bit. But at least it's new IP, it's a little refreshing. Although, in my opinion, it's a copy and paste of Team Fortress 2. Blizzard always done that. Is let's take a popular game and polish the crap out of it and kind of release it in the wild and have people enjoy it. It seems to have enjoyment. But one thing I've noticed from my friends list, and I've added a lot of people the first week the game came out, about 15, is I don't see them playing the game that much anymore. Most people, I see them maybe play an hour quick play a day, and that's about it. Like, but the first month the game came out, people were just. I would look at my friends list, it was just filled with 10 to 11 people all the time. Now it's 1 or 2, even on weekends. The most I see sometimes is 4 or 5. So yeah, Overwatch has become very tedious very fast. It's because unfortunately it's a hero-based game. So you pick a hero, you become very, very, very good with him, which is not that hard because the game is very casual friendly. You then encounter um, this kind of is very casual friendly, and it's, in my opinion, it's not a type of, unless you're a fanatic, it's not a type of game like Counter Strike, where I think the skill cap is extremely high. I played Counter Strike for a very long time when I was in high school for 3 years on a daily basis. At the time, it was I don't know what is the equivalent of Cal. It was the Cyber Athlete League, and then there was the Cyber Professional League, back in the early 2000s, late 90s, where a $10,000 prize pool was like the huge thing in Counter Strike 1.3 and ultimately later 1.6. Now Counter Strike sources like $1 million rewards, and the game is infinitely harder, infinitely less welcoming to newbies, much more targeted, in my opinion, to younger people who have the energy to really hit their heads against the wall until they get their aiming down and right. So what does it have to do with World of Warcraft? Well, World of Warcraft is on its way out. That is my opinion. I think the reason why a lot of people are skeptical about it is, number one, Warlords of Draenor was the equivalent of getting not stabbed in the back, literally just getting a dagger and just stabbing you in the heart, and be like, this is what you get for 2 years. And from Blizzard's perspective, I can guarantee you that they say, yeah, we made some mistake in Warlords of Draenor, but it's an amazing game. Now you get Legion, and again, you go on the World of Warcraft subreddit or forums, same thing. The hype is out of control. And remember, 99% of player base hasn't played a beta or an alpha, just basing this on a Demon Hunter class. But again, the same thing will happen in 2 months, month and a half. Half the player base will be like, there's nothing to do. Because the systems is added besides the artifact system weapon, which is very cheap, by the way, because, oh, and I'll touch on pruning in 2 minutes, is basically just adding old passives and active abilities that were in the old skill talent trees that they removed. And the pruning. My favorite class for now, Death Knight, has been reduced to 3. I'm not kidding, a 3-button rotation. You got some, skills that have 30 seconds to 3-minute cooldowns that you use once in a while, but literally has become a 3-button rotation. I play FF14 as well. Yeah, insult me for that. But FF14 has a bigger rotation of World of Warcraft. And that's a game that has a 2.5-second global cooldown on your skills. That's worrying. They're basically creating this expansion so your grandma can play it. So your 15-year-old brother, who wasn't born at the time, can go and experience the World of Warcraft experience. And playing a Demon Hunter, I didn't think it was beginner friendly at all. At all. Like, if you've never played an MMO and this is your first one, it's gonna be confusing. Hotbars, like, do 26,000 damage with Falcao's damage. How do you, like, there's no tooltips tutorial. Like, how, like, most people are gonna be clickers. How do you click on an enemy? People are not gonna be tabbing. They're gonna manually click. Some people are gonna be manually clicking their abilities. How do you activate hotbars? You can activate 1, 2, 3, 4 right now extra hotbars if you don't have any add-ons. That's not even getting into the add-ons territory that new players won't get. So I think Blizzard's hope that it will bring a huge amount of people back to this game, and it will fall flat in its face. People want fast-paced MOBA style games. Overwatch has proven that. Overwatch has proven that very clearly. You want to get in, pick a hero. In terms of a pure MOBA, just really try to get your last kills on the minions, get overpowered weapons, and dominate. In terms of Overwatch, is you already get all of that. You just basically have to try to play good and kill people. It's an FPS. So ultimately, I think that the problems that were in Worlds of Draenor um, are still existing in Legion, no matter what people are telling you. No matter what people are telling you, and I don't think any of them has been. It's the core mechanics at the end of the day. Building blocks of World of Warcraft have not been changed in 13 years, and they will not be changed. And that was my first video to kind of give my criticism of what I believe is a little bit too much of Legion hype. And people should be very wary. Blizzard is a company that has an excellent public relation team that knows how to manipulate your mind, especially with young people. And really trying to tell them and trying to sell them something, you know, that says something on a box, or these days a web page, but at the end you get something very different. So I hope you enjoyed my opinions. Please leave a comment in regards to any points that I made. But to anybody who's on the fence for buying the game, wait until the 30th. Do not pre-order it. Do not pre-order it. I made the mistake of pre-order it, and I think I still have a couple days until I may be able to get a refund from the game, and I've been thinking about it every day. Because I don't see a point right now. Because you get your Demon Hunter, it's literally an hour tutorial, and then it's back to WoD. And right now it's a very aggressive environment where looking for raid, which is the lowest, group finder ability um, mechanic that you can get to experience a raid to get actually really crappy items. Uh, is 40 minutes for DPS. So what would you want to get through that? And if you go through Party Finder, which is the custom version of a group finder where you have to create a group and invite people through it, is very hostile. I mean, you find language like demon hunters go fuck yourselves, demon hunter not welcome. It's a very hostile environment. There's a lot of bitching in the WoW community about the social aspect is gone. While Blizzard, in a certain sense, killed it, the players killed it too. It's one of the worst communities out there. It's the most hostile, mean, xenophobic, racist, misogynistic. I mean, you name it, and it's there. I play FF14, and I personally think that a lot of people who play FF14 are weirdos. However, they're nice weirdos. They're weeps. They're like I'm kind of a weep too. I watch anime, but it's not my life. Too. I don't see any anime posters, and you'll never see one. But when I play FF14, I don't deal with the chat spam of Terran Mill. I don't deal with people, doing anal blessed fury of the wind fury weapon or whatever. Like that was fun 10 years ago, and people are still fucking doing it. So yeah, the community aspect might be dead, but it's not Blizzard's fault entirely. I put that really on the people who stayed, and we're talking about people who are like, in their 30s, early 30s and late 20s, and they're still acting like they're 17. So, do I want anything to do with that community? No. And the last one I will make is do not pre-order the game. That's even more of an incentive if you don't have any friends to play with. I don't have any friends to play with right now, and it's just I paid $65 to just fucking sorry for the language, I gotta cuss less. To just basically play an hour and a half tutorial of what is it called of Demon Hunter, and that's not worth it for $65 for an hour and a half. Well, I'll see when the game comes out. I'm sure I'll get to level 110. I'm sure I'll get some dungeons, but my expectations are very low, extremely low. Blizzard has become the McDonald's of video games, and they're hurting the video game landscape. I'll touch on another topic as to why I think Blizzard is actually um, not is actually hurtful for the game for the game industry rather than an innovator. Because just to give you an insight into the next one is Blizzard has never really created anything original. They didn't invent the RTS genre. They didn't invent, Warcraft. There were games before Warcraft. SimCity technically was an RTS game, the 1989 version, the 1990 version, but you built a city and you didn't have minions. Blizzard didn't invent, the real-time strategy game genre. That's a board game. Blizzard is good at taking people's idea, polishing them, releasing them into a product that is very finely crafted, but that is very shallow once you scratch your surface. But that's a topic that I'll be talking for my next video. Well, thanks guys for listening. I know it's been actually a little bit long and rambled a little bit too much, and I hope you enjoyed this video. See you guys later.